Sexton ripped a good start out there.
Chase Sexton is out in the lead. Cianciarulo second. Eli Tomac now moves into second. So it is a number 1. Chase Sexton, what a start, JB.
Wow, this is an incredible start for Chase Sexton. Exactly what he wanted. Look, we've talked about him struggling on this new Red Bull KTM a little bit. He had a somewhat okay Anaheim 1 coming away with a podium. Didn't ride incredible, and I think he would tell you that too, but what a start. This is amazing. Chase Sexton is gone. He's riding well so far in this main event.
You know, watching in the starting gate, he got that little bit of a roll. I thought he was going to actually hit the gate, but when he got out of it, he had 2 bike lanes within the first 15 to 20 yards. Then he had to chop the brakes in that first turn, but boy, what a start by number 1.
Malcolm Stewart got collected in that mess. So did Jason Anderson, so they are way back. I see the 22 of Freddie Norn as well. A lot of room to make up. Tough break for them. It's going to be hard to get back up anywhere near the top 10.
And remember, Dan, this is a shorter main event, so typically we do 20 minutes plus a lap. This one is 15 minutes plus a lap, and I'll tell you what, it's still going to be very challenging track here. And even that time, even though they've shortened it a little bit, I'm telling you, it's going to be really demanding on the motorcycle and the body.
I'm not sure if Joseph Marshall was wrapped up in that first turn entry, but he did go behind the wall. I think he got some fresh goggles.
Another rider that's having a big bounce back tonight is number 3 of Eli Tomac. A ninth was very subpar for what he looked for last week, but JB, Dan, looks like he's rebounding right now, sitting in second place. Could this be what he needed to get the season on track?
Chase, he's looking great. He's got McElrath behind him and Cianciarulo, but he's opening up a gap against them right now. It's looking solid.
It is looking solid, and we talk about bounce-back rides for Eli Tomac. 9th place last week in Anaheim 1 is not what he wanted, but typically anytime he has a race like that, he always bounces back with a podium. So let's see if we can get a podium out of Eli Tomac tonight.
They've got to be happy that they've cut down the whoops, Chase. You can see it a little better from where you're at, but not a lot of problems through what used to be the whoop section for these guys.
Not even close. That was by far the most treacherous part of the racetrack during those heat races, but now looks like the riders are getting through that pretty easily.
Look at the 12 of McElrath up in the top 5. When we talk about, you know, taking advantage of this opportunity, this mud race, it's the greatest equalizer, we call it. This is a great opportunity for Shane McElrath to potentially get on the 450 podium here.
Guys, I just watched the number 7 of Aaron Plessinger ditch his goggles already. That's pretty early to do in this main event. He's one rider that everyone has their eye on to win, but JB, if you're Aaron Plessinger, what do you do if you ditch your goggles this early in the main event?
Well, this is so early. We've still got 12 minutes remaining, and he's in heavy traffic right now. It's really difficult because in your mind you want to go, oh, Aaron Plessinger's stuck. He's stuck.
That is rough, man. I tell you what, Jet Lawrence, by the way, back in 6th place. Last time we checked, Jet Lawrence, 20 years old, the youngest in this 450 main. By comparison, Christian Craig, 32, is the oldest.
Look at McElrath giving Eli Tomac some pressure here for 2nd place. Like I said, if you're Shane, and we talk about New Jersey last year, Shane was in the top 5 last year in that New Jersey mud race, so he obviously rides these conditions really well.
Take a look at Ken Roxon, too. Ken Roxon out there in 4th place. Is that Ken out there in 4th? At least that's what my eyes tell me. It's hard to know with the transponders and see where they're at on the big board, but it looked like Ken was moving up.
I actually thought I seen Ken have some problems in the first turn crash, but now he's made his way all the way up. I could be wrong, but it might have been a different Suzuki, but he is on a mission right now in 4th place.
Yeah, the board shows the number 9 of Adam Cianciarulo on that green Monster Energy Kawasaki in 4th, but it is Ken Roxon who was able to get past. So Ken Roxon on that Suzuki on up into 4th place.
And Ken rides these conditions really well. He's from Germany, grew up over there riding treacherous conditions like this, and when you watch Ken, he's going to be standing up a lot. He has his balance is absolutely incredible, and that's what you need in these long ruts.
You know, Ken Roxon, one of the best riders in the world. You can see it with his championship. Saw him go over the finish line last lap, a little bit squirrely. I mean, it's slicker than whale snot right now, and he's doing a great job recovering. But when you have the best in the world struggling like this is not a boy's track. This is a man's track.
It absolutely is. And you talk about a man, let's talk about the number 1 of Chase Sexton out front. Looks like Ken Roxon has gotten around, or he's in a battle. No, that's Adam Cianciarulo on the screen. Sorry about that. And in a battle with Jet Lawrence.
Guys, Chase Sexton is in a race of his own right now. He's looking back. He probably doesn't even know who's in 2nd place. The gap is so big. So, JB, what's Chase Sexton thinking right now? Just clean line, stay and stay out of trouble?
Well, you don't want to let your mind wander to say, oh my goodness, I'm going to get this win. You can never think about that. You have to just really think about this track. It's you versus the track right now, and don't think about anybody else. He's got to run clean laps, focus ahead, hit his marks, and really we talk about one lap at a time. Let's just do one turn at a time in conditions like this.
I was looking at some of our international racers out there. The number 111, Jorge Prado, that MXGP World Champion in 9th right now. We've got 7 countries represented out here. Spain, France, Germany, USA, Sweden, Australia, and Scotland. Truly a worldwide sport.
It is, absolutely. This is where everybody wants to be all around the world. If you want to be a professional motorcycle racer and you want to race supercross, this is the best of the best right here. Look, I'm really impressed with Chase Sexton. The way his technique is on the motorcycle, he looks really, really comfortable in that Red Bull KTM. Not many mistakes out of him so far, just kind of chugging along, and that's what you want to do. Just kind of be consistent, chug along. You're going to make mistakes, so you got to really forget about those quick.
Who do you think set the fastest lap so far?
I would say Chase Sexton. He's out front. He's making the track look a lot easier than anybody else right now. But I'll tell you what, Ken Roczen in 3rd place. He got around Shane McElrath. Pay attention to that number 3 and that number 94 in 2nd and 3rd place.
After 4 laps, only 4 riders have gotten under a 1 minute 30-second lap time, and they are all running in the top 4.
Jet Lawrence was down. Jet Lawrence had a crash.
That is not good for Jet Lawrence. So if you look, there's just barely over 8 minutes left in this main event. Remember, this is a short main event, so there's less time to make up. So making any mistakes right now is going to cost you big time.
And this is the part of the race where these riders want to start preserving the motorcycle. We talked about it earlier. You got to take it easy on the clutch. You can't just really hold it wide open and clutch it everywhere. So you got to really be smart, be methodical, and really continue this forward effort and pay attention to your motorcycle.
JP, break down the riding style of Chase Sexton. On a dry track, he seems very muscular, very neutral on the bike. Is it really playing into his hands right now?
It is. You're incredibly right, Lurch. That's a great point. He's got such great balance, and if you talk about this, is like walking on a tightrope. These guys are trying to. These ruts are so long. They're trying to stay in the one rut, almost down these whole length of these rhythm lanes, and it's like walking a tightrope. It's incredibly difficult to do. So Chase has got some incredible balance on this Red Bull KTM.
Well, look, we talked about the mud being the ultimate equalizer right now with Jet Lawrence running in around that 10th place position, and Eli Tomac right now running in 2nd. It's almost a complete point swap from what we just saw from last week, Dan.
Yeah, it's going to be wild to look at the points when we get done. I implore you to stick around when we get to the podium. We'll look at the points overall and how it's going to shake down. But I think Chase Sexton just might wind up with that red plate after his 3rd place finish last week on the podium. That was his goal, Chase, to get on the podium, if possible, every round. And if he can hold it up, he's going to be accomplishing that goal for himself and his new team.
Don't look now, because number 3 of Eli Tomac is closing that gap on Chase Sexton. I couldn't see if he made a mistake or something happened, but Tomac is right here in the same rhythm lane before the finish line.
Cooper Webb seems to be moving up as well. Eli Tomac, Chase, was running about 6.4 seconds behind Chase Sexton last time we saw him. Let's see as they go over the finish line. If he's able to close that up, he's almost cut it in half to a 3.8-second gap between 1st and 2nd, Chase Sexton and then Eli Tomac, respectively.
That's one of the last people you want behind you, Dan, is Eli Tomac, especially in conditions like this. And if you want to rewind 1 year ago, these two had so many epic battles. It came down to obviously Eli Tomac going out with that Achilles injury in Denver and Chase Sexton ultimately winning the championship. But these two have some unfinished business with each other, more so with Eli, so you can bet that he's going to try everything he can to catch Chase for this win.
You know, let's talk about the number 12, Shane McElrath, the rodeo ride there on the steel pony by the number 3, Eli Tomac, able to get it back, but number 12, Shane McElrath, a veteran of the sport, and man, he's had some struggles along the time, some injury, sometimes having a hard time making it in the main event, and where he is at right now, I'm very pumped for number 12 of Shane McElrath.
Yeah, one of the good guys in the sport, McElrath, and anytime you can be in the top 5 of this premier class, these guys are the absolute best in the world. It's going to be an incredible result for Shane McElrath, but we still have 5 minutes to go. This still, even though it's short, this is still a long race for these guys.
Shane McElrath currently in a career best 4th. His current career best is 5th from Denver in 2023 last year.
Yeah, Shane's had some great rides, but this could be one of his best ever. Jorge Prado on the screen right now, riding around. Looks like he's in 7th place, and that's going to be a great result for him as well if he can just keep it on 2 wheels. Look, a heat win in 7th, I would say he would take that.
France and Spain battling right there on the Supercross big screen. The 14 of Ferrandis gets past the 111 Spaniard of Jorge Prado.
Now the steam we're coming off the bikes, that's just evaporation off the bike. That's nothing engine-wise that these guys need to be worried about, is it?
Well, sometimes it is, Lurch. Sometimes it's the bike being so hot and they go through a puddle and the steam comes off it, to your point. But other times it can be the clutch, it can be the bike losing some coolant, getting really hot. In the circumstance with Chase Sexton and Eli Tomac right now, I don't think they have to worry about that. Looks like Chase might have just hit a puddle or something, smoking a little bit. But there's other bikes on the track. If they start to smoke really bad, that's usually an overheating situation.
Wait, wasn't last week when we were hearing some people saying, man, is it time for Eli Tomac to hit the panic button? I think he's hitting the nitrous button.
He is for sure, and like I said earlier, the bounce back rides, Eli, you can just never count him out. And look, we don't emphasize enough on how big of an injury that was for him last year in Denver. He had that championship all but wrapped up, goes out in Denver with an Achilles injury, and now coming back, he had to get that first one at Anaheim 1 under his belt, and now the real Eli Tomac is here tonight in San Fran.
That's right. This could be just the momentum he needs. Instead of leaving here, possibly having an even bigger points deficit, Eli Tomac's going to leave this weekend potentially closing that gap up huge. And so that's going to be huge momentum for him, Justin, going into next week knowing, hey, I'm right back in this championship. It's anybody's win at this point.
For sure, it's going to be a bounce back for a lot of these guys. I mean, if Chase Sexton can hold on to this win, that's a huge week for him. You talk about Eli Tomac, then you talk about Ken Roxon. He had a difficult weekend last weekend in 10th place. For him to bounce back with a podium, this is all shuffled up. This 2024 Supercross Championship is going to be one for the books.
Eli Tomac and Jordan Smith doing it for Yamaha. Right now, Eli Tomac in 2nd. If it finishes like this, he'll add his points to Jordan Smith's 1st place, 25 points, and that's going to put Yamaha in the Manufacturers' Cup running as well.
I think Sexton might have made a mistake, Lurch. I think he might have made a mistake. It looks like Tomac's maybe closing the gap on him.
It looks like he may be. And, let's go back to the Roger Copster said they found the settings they really like for Anaheim like 4 days before. Those settings are pretty much out the door when it comes to something like this.
Yeah, for sure. Throw those settings out the door. This is just so treacherous. The settings, they don't really have to be in a window to feel super confident and super comfortable in these settings. It's more of just trying to hold your balance, trying to move forward, and really just have a positive attitude and embrace these conditions.
And it looks like number 18, Jet Lawrence, he has fallen back even one more position to his brother Hunter. So in more trouble for Jet in this situation, but again, it's just helping those riders like the Ken Roxons and the Eli Tomacs that struggled last week close that gap. So Justin, these last couple laps here, less than 2 minutes to go with Chase Sexton out front, what's he thinking right now? I've just got to get through this race, ride my clean laps?
No, you can't start thinking yet, Chase. Don't turn the brain on yet.
Too early.
It's a little too early. Honestly, it's too early until you cross that checkered flag. We've seen it happen all night long. The track is so treacherous, and anytime it can jump up and bite you. And Eli Tomac is still in this race. Look, they came across the finish line about 5 seconds apart. That is not 5 seconds anymore.
We saw the points up there as they stood, and it ended like this. And there they are on the Supercross big screen. If it ends like this, it will put Chase Sexton up into 1st place and drop the number 18 all the way down into 2nd. So Jet Lawrence would lose his place. Eli Tomac now moves up overall from 9th into 3rd. If it ends like this with his 2nd place finish, he'd be tied with the number 7 of Aaron Plessinger, who'd have the edge because he won or was higher up than Plessinger in this race.
Yeah, you want to talk about a total reset for San Diego. Obviously, we're still in San Francisco, but it's going to be amazing to watch next week and how this race plays out. And I'm so excited for Eli Tomac to be back, because there was questions this week. Dan, there was questions about, like we said earlier, did he need to hit the panic button or not? But I would say definitely not. Leave that panic button in the drawer, because Eli Tomac is here and here to stay.
It looks, from what we can tell, that Chase Sexton, if he laps one more rider, that might be Jet Lawrence. So he's going all the way up into 9th place. Right now, Jet in 9th place. Hunter, his brother, in 10th place. There's number 3 on the big screen. We just saw him up there. So Chase holding it together, solid, consistent. Safe to say, Jet Lawrence will not match Damon Bradshaw's record of winning rounds 1 and 2 in his rookie season of a 450 Supercross race.
Looks like we're going to have 2 laps to go. Chase and Eli cross the checkered flag there, or cross the finish line, sorry. They're going to have 2 laps to go. So it looks like Eli Tomac's about 4 seconds. So he knocked about a second and a half off of that. They're in the rhythm lane here on the first base line. And I'll tell you what, Eli's trying everything he can to get close. And Chase just continues to just inch away. And then Eli will catch him. And then Chase will inch away. So something to watch here with about a lap and a half to go.
JB, normally we see the blue flags come out. That means you're about to be lapped right there. In this condition, normally they try to take the lesser line, or it's just everybody hold on, and it's the leader's job to get by them, no matter where they are on the track.
It is. It's so hard to hold your line, Lurch. It's a great point, but the lappers are trying their best to try to stay out of the way, but they're also trying their best to deal with this track. And like I said earlier, these ruts, once you're in a rut, it's basically the whole length of this field, and it's so hard to stay in that. So it's just survival. The blue flags are out, but it's the leader's responsibility to take a different line.
We've got a white flag. This is the last lap. The white flag is out. Cam, the number 1 reigning champ, hang on and take it all the way and be the only one who would be in a podium in each of the first 2 rounds.
Guys, have we answered questions, or do we have a whole lot more questions going into San Diego?
I think we've answered some with Chase Sexton, I'll tell you that.
I think Chase has those leader lights, and he's the only one, to Dan's point, to be on the podium at rounds 1 and 2. But I'm telling you, this race is not over yet. He's got some lap traffic in front of him. Looks like that's Jet Lawrence down actually in front of Chase Sexton. He's come around to lap him. Oh, and they get hung up together. Chase is up on Jet. Oh, he got away. But Eli's got a front row seat to that. So this race is not over, folks.
If you said that we would come to San Francisco and see Chase Sexton lap Jet Lawrence in midweek, they would have thought you were crazy.
100%. They would have thought I would have thought you were crazy, Dan.
Justin, does Jet Lawrence getting lapped by Chase Sexton do anything to his mental psyche, or are you just going to shake it off like, this was a mud race. Let's go back to some dry dirt next week and do it all over?
Yeah, just kind of you can't really take much stock in it, other than if there's another mud race this year, we could take some stock in that. But I would say no, that Jet is incredible in the dry. He proved that last week at Anaheim 1, and this isn't going to really hurt his confidence.
And he's still in 2nd place, so that's going to take the sting off it. If it ends like this, Jet Lawrence, as hard as this lap would be to take, he would still be in 2nd place overall.
And here comes Chase with 2 turns to go. He's got a right-hander over these 4 jumps, and the left-hander is getting his checkered flag.
You want consistency? You got it. He asked for it. The reigning champ takes the win in San Francisco. Chase Sexton had to work very hard. He made it look easy, JB. It was not. He put in the work. His team backed him up. The Red Bull KTM crew there for him when he needed it, making sure that bike was good to go and could get through this very grueling, treacherous race in the mud.
That's an absolute team effort. Red Bull KTM, mad kudos to you guys to get this win with Chase Sexton. Only his 2nd race on the bike in these conditions. Ken Roxon coming over the finish line in a solid 3rd place podium position.
Yeah, that's incredible. Don't forget, we got interviews coming your way from the podium. Stick around. Let's hear what they have to say. Ken Roxon in position there for his 114th podium. He gets it done. We'll be back to hear from Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, and Ken Roxon in just a minute.